Okay, today we're going to look at the mixed system and the free market economic system and look at their advantages and disadvantages. First of all, the free market economic system. Although this doesn't really exist in its purest form, it's important to look at the advantages and disadvantages to see for why we would want more free market and less intervention by the government. So less mixed system, or vice versa, less free market and more intervention. So we're going to try and understand the system and what are the positives. First of all, what are the positives about the system? Well, we can, like I said before, a free market is where there's private companies, private individuals, private organisations which have the means of production that operate in a market for profit. And with this, we get a wide variety of goods and services because with the profit, so when we're talking about wide variety, we're talking about lots of, imagine a car. Here we've got lots of cars. We've got fast cars, slow cars, cheap, expensive, safe, not so safe, stylish, not so stylish, etc., etc., large, small, so much variety of these goods. And that's because it's private, it's a free market. So there's private organisations and each one must compete for the consumer to make more profit. So they're trying to satisfy the consumer. Every consumer wants something a little bit different. Some people have got a lot of money, they want an expensive car, others haven't. So you've got all these parts of the market, sectors they're called, being catered for, being produced for. The companies are looking at all the differences that people want and trying to produce. You know, maybe there's a small amount of people, a very few people want a hatchback where you get a sunroof, for example. Maybe some limited number of cars with sunroofs will be produced because some want that. So this is why with the free market you get a wide variety of goods because the private organisations are competing to keep us happy for profit. Otherwise they stop making profit and then they fail, they disappear. So that's one advantage. We've got a lot of choice. It's an advantage. Generally in the free market, the consumer is very important. The consumer becomes king because our needs become very important and there's a lot of competition, so we are kept happy. That's another advantage. So firms will respond quickly to changes in consumer wants. If, for example, suddenly it's a hot summer, the ice cream producers will start producing ice cream much more, or maybe some shoe producers, factory producing shoes, will start producing sandals because they see, you know, that's where the consumer wants more sandals, and that's where the profit is. So the firms respond quickly, and we know that's important because things change quickly. You know, imagine an earthquake. Suddenly people need their houses repaired and the damage repaired. In a market system, things will be done very quickly. We have less bureaucracy, less, with government control. You're waiting for decisions, you've got to fill out forms, etc. But in the market, things get done much quicker. The firms respond much quicker to the changes in the market. And things are changing quickly now. We see, the technology, for example, is updated much quicker. And we can see, with a free market system, you've got profit, which means people will develop the products much faster, more innovation, more development. Here we've got Steve Jobs showing a laptop. He thought, we're going to improve the portable computer to make more money. So he produced this to make consumers happy, and then he could make more profit. So this really does help technology go ahead fast. Lots of technology, got lots of people thinking of ideas, new ideas, innovations, new ways of doing things. And that's because of the profit motive, this need to survive and compete against other organisations. So that's a great advantage to the free market. Also, with a free market, there are no taxes. We're talking in the purest sense. Normally, in America, there's more free markets, there's less taxes. Because you've got private everything, you've got private schools, the customer pays for schooling, pure free market. The customers pay for everything, health, whatever, transport. So, the government takes no money. And that is an advantage, obviously. Disadvantage to the free market: firms only produce goods and services if they're profitable. We can think here, you've got all this homelessness. We can see this in America, in these places where they've got very strong economies. A lot of people living in the streets. Why? Because it's not profitable to provide them with homes. If they've got no work, or if they haven't got enough money, then it doesn't happen. And that is a problem. That is a problem also if, we've got essential services, which are here. We talk a bit about that here. Firms will only supply products to consumers who are able to pay for them. So it's similar. For example, school or hospital. A hospital is another thing. And we can't have a social pact. You can't keep society together, keep people reasonably happy to be peaceful if they're not educated, because they can't work, or if there's no health service, because people will die. So you'll lose the peace. People will react very desperately, and that means no peace. So we do need some intervention. The free market doesn't provide for those who can't pay. Another disadvantage would be resources will only be employed if it's profitable to use them. And just think of all the unemployed. It's not that they can't produce. They can produce, they can do something. But look here, in Italy we've got lawyers unemployed. We've got very qualified people unemployed. Able to work. So that in a pure free market system, the more free market, the more people will be left at home, because the free market doesn't employ people unless it's really profitable. Not just useful, but profitable. And again, a lot of homeless, but also a lot of empty buildings. For example, in Turin, there's a lot of empty properties not being used, but it's not profitable to put these people in there. Maybe they haven't got enough work or money, or the buildings need a lot of money spent on them. But in a pure free market, we're going to have this problem, a lot of resources being wasted. And unemployment is a massive waste of resources. Millions of people without not doing anything that could be changing the world. So another problem with the free market system is harmful goods could be produced if it's profitable. Without any government intervention, we would see drugs, even medicines out of control, and pollution, a lot more pollution, also factories polluting, or even guns, things like guns or gambling. So the harmful goods, even cars without a seatbelt, without safety standards, etc. So the free market doesn't consider this. The free market considers only profit. Another disadvantage is some firms may dominate the market. Normally in a free market, over time, an organisation gets bigger and bigger, and then he can make the rules of the market. He can, maybe a smaller company, if a smaller company becomes too competitive, he lowers the price and destroys the competition, or does something to destroy the competition. So, and then a business, an organisation that's a monopoly, where it's only that business, can abuse the customer, because the customers can't go to the competitor. Suddenly the customer's not king, they're not powerful anymore, and you'll see prices rise and the quality go down, and also innovation slow when you have very, very big companies dominating the market. Suddenly they don't need to try anymore. Okay. Now we'll look at the mixed economic system. Remember the mixed economic system, you've got the government intervening, the government producing goods and services, and the free market too. The advantage of this is it can provide essential goods and services. So like I said, if the government does do something, it intervenes, it's a mixed economy, then you've got schools and hospitals and other essential services like water, etc., kept under control, so the poor can have access to these resources. In the Italian constitution, it says that everybody, the public, should have access to these very essential resources. So they must be public. The advantage of a mixed economy is, again, the control of harmful activities. Like I said before, the government can control harmful activities. It can also provide public goods. In a mixed economy, the government can provide street lighting. It would be very difficult to provide street lighting in a private free market, because if you walk down the street, you're going to have to pay somebody or a machine to keep the light on, and then suddenly the light goes out. No, it wouldn't work. Or the police. The police are a public service and a public good. You can't charge people money only when they need the police. So it's not a private free market good. It's a public good. and it can protect the vulnerable. So the mixed economy means the government can do a lot to protect the vulnerable. So you've got, for example, transport services that are much lower than the cost. It would be very difficult to keep the transport much cheaper if it's private. In England we have a lot of private buses and private trains, and they're very expensive, much more expensive than here. So it can not just have the profit motive, but also be a means of protecting the vulnerable, which is important for a government that must think of the population. And then another disadvantage is that taxes can distort the market price and reduce work incentives. So in a mixed economy, the government must ask for money to pay for the public schools, the public lighting, the police, etc. And then, if it asks for taxes, it stops the incentives to work. So people, sometimes they don't want to open an activity, an economic activity, or do more hours, extra hours, because they know if they go into a different bracket, they pay much more tax. It becomes much less profitable. Maybe up to a certain number, you pay 40% tax. After that, you go up maybe 50% or 70%. So it can be very demotivating. Another disadvantage of the mixed economy is some governments, and quite a few governments, use their government spending for election purposes. So before the election, here we've got a picture of somebody voting, but then you have the politician putting some money in him so they get the vote. Maybe if they want to maximise the old people's vote, they just put up the pension just before the election. They're not doing what's right, they're doing what's in their interest. They're using government spending not for the benefit of the nation, but to win an election. And they can do this in many ways. They can maybe suddenly make many more jobs available in schools, or start really taking care of the environment so everything looks better, start painting the roads and the lamp posts, etc., and make things look better. But that's not something in the interest of the nation. They're doing it for them. So they're just using government spending. And that's a disadvantage.